All right, thanks again to all of the attendees for joining us here today live. So before we get started, my name is Jermaine Hernandez, and I'm a sales engineering manager here with Cloud Academy. I am very excited to be here with you today to introduce you to our pre-hire assessment add-on feature. There are a couple of things that I would like to introduce you to up front to ensure that you're understanding exactly the data points that we are looking at and consuming. This includes an introduction to skills intelligence, exactly what that means, but then we'll jump right into that pre-hire assessment. A couple of webinar details. Please note that this webinar will be recorded and shared with you via email within the next 36 hours. We do welcome questions throughout the webinar, and you have the opportunity to submit those questions using the questions box in your attendee control panel. Additionally, at the conclusion of today's webinar, there will be a brief 2-minute survey. We truly value your feedback as it helps us improve the content we offer to you and our future webinar experiences with us. I always like to say, give us the bad, the good, and the ugly, because that's the only way we improve. So thanks, y'all. So let's go ahead and get started. So firstly, I'd like to introduce you to Skills Intelligence at a high level in case any of you are brand new to Cloud Academy. So what Skills Intelligence really is, the best way to understand it is a CRM for tech talent. Ultimately, what we've built with our product is a way for end users to prove their tech skills by validating that knowledge. So far more specifically, users within our platform are proving knowledge through quizzes, exams, and labs. 2 of those can be leveraged as baseline assessments, and I'll show you exactly what that means shortly. However, to paint you a more detailed picture of exactly what skills intelligence means, I'm jumping into our new end user profile, where end users are provided the ability to more easily manage their career trajectory. But more importantly, under their specific skill growth, if I click on View All Skills, I can actually scroll down to the bottom and give you a full inventoried list of tech skills within our platform. So what Skills Intelligence provides to the end user is the ability to navigate through this full list of tech skills, determine what it is they want to follow and track, even see how they stack up against the broader Cloud Academy student body. But more importantly, as it pertains to full enterprise users, end users get to dictate which specific tech skills they want to track and follow within reporting. So beyond the pre-hire, they have complete control over dictating which skills they want to focus on for that upcoming project, for the promotion they recently got, et cetera, et cetera. At the enterprise level, what this really means is that we're providing you an inventory list of tech skills across your entire organization. In the full enterprise rollout, this means that as end users are validating that knowledge, we're keeping a longitudinal track of how those tech skills are growing and changing over time. Now, the reason I wanted to introduce you to this first is to point out that our full enterprise rollout actually kicks off with a baseline assessment. So for those of you familiar with Cloud Academy historically, you may remember that we really shine because we offer pre-assessments in 2 flavors, a written or text-based format, but more importantly, the lab-based pre-assessment. So historically, we really wanted to maintain pre-assessments into a shorter duration. However, with the release of our new pre-hire assessment module, we've actually opened up the entirety of our library to be leveraged in that pre-hire motion. Ultimately, what this means is you get to determine the depth and or breadth of the specific text-based assessment you'll put someone through. Let's take, for example, the Solutions Architect Associate certification path that we offer. You could choose to focus on a particular knowledge check area or domain. If you really wanted to be this cruel, you could even put them through the full-on Certified Solutions Architect Associate in just over an hour with 65 questions. You determine the depth and breadth. More importantly, however, are our labs. Our labs are incredibly unique to us, and we offer a variety of formats. On the learning side, we offer guided labs that include screenshots and step-by-step instructions. Those are to be directly compared to lab challenges, which are unguided environments. So keep in mind that we are providing credentials to the end user to access a live environment. But what makes these lab challenges unique is going to be the fact that we present the user with a scenario or a challenge in which we break something. So now with zero guidance, the end user has to use their skills and or knowledge to apply it to that real world scenario and fix the problem. I'd also like to point out here, both the text-based exams and these lab challenges are completely customizable. Another fantastic feature brought to you by Cloud Academy. So historically, what we've done is we've helped organizations baseline to understand existing skill gaps across their teams today. So now let's transition over to the pre-hire side to show you how it directly compares to this. So where historically we were trying to upskill a team as a whole, that was a beautiful use of the baseline technologies. But now what we're doing is leveraging this through a pre-hire motion. I believe all of us are all too familiar with the Great Resignation happening with us. So this is where Cloud Academy really wants to help you to work smarter and not harder. What if you have the ability to precisely find and locate the specific tech talents and skills that you need today or for key upcoming projects? That is precisely what we want to help you with. So what this means is through this pre-hire motion, now instead, to be clear, actually, we go through the exact same process as the enterprise side, where you build out a candidate team. You then select the appropriate onboarding assessments. Those exams or lab challenges as we discussed. You can select multiple. But most importantly, in this one fluid motion, we even have the ability to directly add members at step 3. So when we're talking about this pre-hire motion, all you need to get a user onboarded into the platform is going to be first name, last name, and email. With those, the end user is brought directly into the platform and immediately land on a dashboard that shows them their pre-hire assessments. So the results versus our historical baselining, now we're actually providing insights across the entire candidate pool because we really need to understand our candidates and how they compare to the broader pool. So we can already see within this dashboard, we see highlights on who is outstanding, what the average score is, who is still in progress, but most importantly, let's focus on the completed assessments. Now, we are amongst the few within our space that provides the individual user assessment score, but this is far from sufficient in helping you make that decision. So in this case, we can see Taylor here has knocked it out of the park. So let's make the decision on what to do next. Do we include additional candidates in this candidate pool since it's so small? Or do we confirm that Taylor is the unicorn that we're looking for and put her through a perhaps more involved assessment? Well, thankfully, we can look at the results and make that decision together. So to be clear, for those unfamiliar, our skill score ranges from 0 to 1,000, roughly broken into thirds. So when we click on view results for Taylor, what we're immediately seeing here are the top skills that Taylor is showing within this spider graph. In the light gray, you're seeing how those compare to the average score of the candidate pool. Over on the right, you're seeing the individual scores for those assessments that were assigned. Whether it's a text or lab-based assessment, one of the really nice things that I like about this pre-hire assessment is that you have the ability to look at the answers and maybe even have a conversation with them. There was a key question you included because you customized it. They got it wrong and you just wanted to talk to them about their thought process or whatever it might be. The same is true for those lab challenges. So as I scroll down, then we get to my favorite part, which is actually going to be our assessed skills. In this case, we wanted to assess skills across multiple platforms, but far more important is the breakdown by platform domain. So as I mentioned, If you know that you have a key project coming up focused on DevOps for AWS, security in Azure, whatever the case may be, you can then come to that specific tech skills. And in the blue, we are seeing the average score, while in the green, we are seeing how Taylor is really crushing the rest of this candidate pool. So beyond this, we do provide the easy ability to download a PDF in case you need to share it with the hiring committee, but ultimately providing you deep granular insights into the tech skills for your candidates. In case anybody is wondering what these labs look like, I will, as I mentioned, all of our lab challenges and exams are open for the pre-hire or simple baseline assessment. However, what I wanted to direct your attention to is that the library itself is in fact public facing, and it has a very robust search functionality. So if you're looking for any topics that you might be able to use around containerization, it's pretty easy to either narrow it down by platform, but more importantly, content type, so you can see what exams and labs we have. And of course, very easily differentiate by level. So very briefly jumping into a lab challenge, just to give you all an idea of what that would look like for the end user. So as I start this lab challenge, I'll give it a second to go to the next screen. But as I mentioned, the lab challenges are us really just presenting the end user with a mission scenario where we then break something. I mentioned all users are provided credentials to access a real environment. Otherwise, what's going to make these labs so incredibly unique and powerful for us are going to be the validation checks. So we bridge the connection between our lab environment and the console environment. So once the end user is expected to complete something, they can actually run this check that will confirm or deny if they were successful. These would be the results that you would then be seeing through that pre-hire motion. In case anybody's curious, I do like to point out how easy it is to spin up this environment once it's finished loading. But the last thing that I will leave you with here, especially as it pertains to skills intelligence, because we have the skills index behind the scenes, you can actually see at each individual step which specific tech skills are being tested. In this case, because it was incorrect, of course, I'm going to see the skill decrease and my overall skill score will take a hit. If I got all of these right, then all of these tech skills that I was tested on, I would then see an increase. The ultimate point being is we want to partner with you to take you from intern all the way to professional. Leveraging our pre-hire add-on feature will provide you the direct insights to hiring the appropriate talent based on your needs. And the broader enterprise panel can help you retain that talent by focusing upskilling on key areas, ultimately helping provide transparency and creating happier end users and employees. So I'll take 1 second here to check on the questions. Here came one question, sorry. As the candidates are learning new skills, are they able to retake assessments as their skills improve? Absolutely. So in the broader enterprise, I'll actually show you what that looks like. So especially for things like our certification tracks, the final exam in that certification track actually mirrors the real world certification on the broader enterprise side. But what I wanted to show you is the after exam report that comes after the, again, enterprise users take a full assessment. To be clear, these are not the same results that a pre-hire user would have access to. But in a full-scale rollout, after you take the exam, we provide the end user with complete transparency with what just happened within the exam, because we understand that just providing an end user with a score is very far from sufficient in helping them in their end user journey. So what we provide is actually complete transparency into what skills were assessed, Some gamification makes it very easy for you to identify which specific skills took the biggest hits or biggest improvements. But those calls to action is what I really wanted to direct your attention to here to improve assessments, to improve those skill scores. We can either retake this assessment, which we highly encourage, or if we want a more focused skill score increase, we can actually go to a specific domain, jump right into a quiz, or if I know that these questions were way over my head, very easily and quickly browse training related to that topic. And just because we're on the topic of certification exams, I will point out the answer review for all of the questions does also provide the correct answer and explanation. And I like to call this the don't just take Cloud Academy's word for it, but where appropriate, we'll link to external documentation for further reading. Really, really good question. So on the pre-hire side, assessments would need to be reassigned. On the enterprise side, our users have unlimited access to taking those assessments. That looks to be all of the questions. Thank you all very, very much for your time today. Again, this is Jermaine Hernandez, Sales Engineering Manager with Cloud Academy. Please let us know if you're interested or would like a private demo to walk through this a little bit more intentionally. Otherwise, don't forget about that survey. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your week.